All right, so you've watched the video. Hopefully now you have a much better sense for the application process, the sort of people that we're looking for. Now I want to explain what you're in for if you do get hired as an Alaska State or Wildlife Trooper. Alaska is big. It's the biggest state in the Union. It's 2.5 times size larger than the next smallest state, which happens to be the great state of Texas. For example, here's Texas, approximate over the map of Alaska here. A lot of you know how big Texas really is, and then if you take that aside and look at Alaska here, it gives you a sense for really the scale and the scope for the size of Alaska. This map here is broken out by detachment, so we have our A, B, C, and D detachments for the Alaska State Troopers. What's not on this map is our breakdown of our Wildlife Trooper division. For the Wildlife Troopers, we have a North and a South division. So for Wildlife Troopers, if you essentially take a line from Cordova and wrap over here and up, this is the north part of the state, and then the southern detachment is going to be Kodiak and all of southeast Alaska and all that commercial fishing that happens. For the state troopers here, you can see our A detachment. A detachment is headquartered in Soldotna. It includes the Kenai Peninsula, as well as southeast Alaska, all the way down to Ketchikan here. So this is A detachment. B detachment is headquartered in Palmer, and so we have our Mat-Su West Palmer office all the way out to Glen Allen. Our C detachment, that is our biggest and our most challenging detachment. That's all of western Alaska. So all of this over here in blue is C detachment. It is headquartered in Anchorage, but all of our working troopers are out in those communities here, all the way covering the Aleutian Islands, all the way up to Kotzebue here. And then we have D detachment, which is interior Alaska, that's headquartered in Fairbanks. If you look here, I don't know how well you can see the road system, but we don't have much of a road system. If you drive into the state here, you're able to drive up to Fairbanks, come back down into the Anchorage area. You can drive down to Homer, and then you can drive back out. If you were to drive from Anchorage to the border, you're probably looking at a solid 8-hour drive just to get to Canada. You are able to get back into Alaska in a couple communities in the southeast, but you actually have to leave Alaska, go into Canada, and then come back out here in a town like Haines. So it is very big. Obviously here, all these yellow dots and orange dots signify trooper posts that we have on the state trooper or wildlife trooper side. We do have in the C detachment, some of these posts are 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off. For example, Togiak is one. We have some in Bethel, Hooper Bay, Ammonik, Selawik. Those have troopers where they rotate in on a 2-week on, 2-week off schedule. The rest of the communities have troopers that live and stay there out there with their families. Many of these places have state housing, but as you can see, there's no roads to get there. On a good day, it'll take at least an hour and some change to fly out to Bethel from Anchorage. We service over 30 villages outside of Bethel, and so oftentimes if we had a significant event, let's say we had a homicide in a village here, our troopers from Bethel would respond, but we'd also probably send some investigators from Anchorage, from our Alaska Bureau of Investigation. It would take them, once they depart Anchorage, an hour and some change to get out there, and then they have to offload their gear and get into a smaller single-engine airplane, often having to fly in non-instrument conditions. So if the weather permits, it could easily take 4 or 5 hours or longer just to get from Anchorage to a rural community and then into a village where the response is needed. So the challenge is obviously really big. The scope and the size of Alaska is very challenging. That's part of the job. That's part of the fun, is figuring out how to get places, the logistics of it, all the challenges with weather. There's just no other place in our nation that you can do this sort of work under these sorts of challenges here. So I'd encourage you to look on our Alaska State Trooper website. We have this map and a couple others explaining those. And if you have questions about it, you're welcome to reach out to us. So I just ask you to think about that, explore Alaska a little bit, and you might be the sort of person that's up for the challenge of working in an environment like this.